8 a.m. We're going to go ahead and start. Welcome all to the Transportation Committee meeting for Tuesday, April 6th, Election Day. Hopefully everybody has an opportunity to vote today. First item is a roll call. Julie, you want to do that?
Yes, sir. Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Present.
Member Klein,
Present.
Member Wachinski,
Here.
Member Thompson,
Present.
Member Friedrich,
I see you.
uh-oh, looks like he froze. And Member Soldner.
Here. All righty. Next item then is the approval of the March 2nd regular meeting minutes. Hope everybody's had an opportunity to see those. I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Member Klein, second. Member Lehman. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb.
Yes.
We'll try it again. Member Friedrich. Okay, I'm not seeing him. And Chairman Soldner.
Yes. Okay. That motion carries. Next item then is a payment of bills and appropriation transfer request forms. I don't see any transfers, but we do have bills. I would entertain a motion and a second to put those on the floor for discussion. Motion by Member Thompson, second by Member Klein. Okay, does anybody have any questions? All right, well, I have a couple. I'm going to put Jerry on the spot here. So these bills to Cargill, I assume are they for salt?
Yes, that's correct.
And so are we stocking up for hopefully no more this year, but for the next season?
Yes, we are completely full to the capacity that we can handle. And so the price was so good this year that we went ahead and made sure that we were full starting the next year.
Okay, I remember you saying earlier we had a pretty good price on it. And then on page 5 of 12, Ecology Action Center for $2,906. Can you kind of tell me what that's all about?
Sure. So the within McLean County, we have to do what's called an MS4 permit with the EPA. And so part of that permit is doing some educational and outreach. And so the Ecology Action Center does that for McLean County, City of Bloomington, and the town of Normal involved in the MS4 permit. And so they go around to schools, they do workshops at different areas. And so this pays for their time and materials and that for those types of things.
And when they do like stenciling or whatever for different drains, that also comes out of that?
Yes, that is included in that.
Great. All right. Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll have a roll call vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Soldner.
Yes. Do we have any appearances by members of the public?
Oh, sorry, Chairman Soldner, we do not
All right.
have any appearances.
All right, we'll have to come up with a controversy so we can have somebody want to talk to us. All right. First item under departmental matters 5A1 is request approval of a resolution for the March 23rd, 2021 maintenance letting, and I would entertain a motion. Motion by member Frederick, second by member Thompson. Okay, Jerry, you want to lead us on this?
Sure. So this is our annual oil and chip letting for the McLean County and for the town, all the townships that are doing oil and chip work this year. And Bennett and was the north half of the townships, and Stephens 3D, Toluca, they were the south half. They've done work for us before. It's just been a few years since they've won any awards. And then Bennett also received the McLean County work on that. So the McLean County works, we're doing some oil and chip work, as well as some pavement preservations on some hot mix roads. And then we're also doing trying a couple miles of oil and chip where we're going to till it up and add some rock and then put a new A3 surface on that. So kind of added maintenance on some of those township roads, or I'm sorry, on the county road that we're going to try.
All right, does anybody have any questions or comments on that? Seeing that, oh, I'm sorry, member Thompson?
You just said something about an A3, what was that? I mean, maybe misunderstood what you said on a, you know what I meant? No?
Yeah, sorry, I should have clarified that. So yeah, we're, it's the Waynesville Road, and it's about a mile and 3/4. We're going to till up, and then we're going to add 2 inches of rock to that. And then the A3 that I meant by that was, it'll be 3 coats of rock and oil that go on top of the new aggregate.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, we will go ahead and have a roll call vote.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Soldner.
Yes. Next item, 5A2, request approval of a resolution for the March 30th, 2021 project letting. Would like a motion and a second, please. Motion member Lehman. Second member Klein. Okay, Jerry, you may proceed.
So this is Washington Street in Carlock that we're going to do as kind of our city project this year. And originally it was just going to be a resurfacing, and it's actually been on our program for a couple of years, but the IDOT's doing a lot of that work on 74, so we kind of put it off. And as we got into the design work on this, kind of noticed that we need to address some of the drainage issues. And so this will, actually I have some pictures here. If, So this is kind of a picture looking east from the I-74 overpass, and you can kind of see the distress in the pavement. And so as you get down towards, there's curb and gutter for a couple areas along here, and then as you go closer to, then you get on the other side of the gas station. There, you kind of can see there's some drainage issues. There's some old curb and gutter that's buried here, and so we're going to replace that, put a new curb and gutter in there, kind of take care of this parking area in front of the bank. And you kind of can see the little closer look there. So all the water kind of drains there. So we're going to actually put some better curb and gutter and some inlets in here to accommodate the water. And it's kind of up around the railroad tracks. So it's not a very long project. And HJ Epple was the low bidder on this, and we're going to add some curb along this stretch as well, just to kind of contain the water down through here.
Okay. And when timeline as far as when and how long?
So we set it up where they're going to need to close the road, and so we set it up to close the road in the month of June after school was out. And so basically they can get all their drainage work, all the curb and gutter work completed, and then the resurfacing. So I'm guessing like 2 months, probably total project, but we'll have the road closed for about a month.
All right. Okay, Mr. Frederick, you got a partner there, I see. Yeah, if he's like my kids where they get very bored in there, I mean, it's good for about 5 minutes and then they're ready to get out, so. All right, any other questions? If not, we are ready to vote then. Roll call vote, please.
Member Wilchinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Zollner.
Yes, motion passes. Next item, 5A3, request approval of a resolution for the March 30th, 2021 equipment levy, and I would entertain a motion for that. Motion by Member Frederick, second by Member Thompson. Jerry, you can lead us on that.
Sure, so it's more equipment, it's a couple of pickup trucks for our fleet, and as well as some new mowers that we had. We're trading in a couple of the ones we bought back in 2016. The ones in 2016 are what they call half-bat mowers, so they really only work on one side of the road, whereas now we're going to full bats to cover more ground.
All right. I was noticing when you do this, you had a couple different vendors. Are these like the top two in a couple of these cases, or is that all you got for like the old mowers and the 250 and?
This was all we received. We went back to the list in 2016 and reached out to 4 or 5 different vendors on the mowers, and a lot of them said they weren't sure when they would be able to get it, and so we put an addendum out to get it, as long as we had it by July. But they were kind of concerned that they couldn't meet that requirement.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, we're ready to have a roll call vote then.
Member Wilchinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Shaking his head.
Yes, sorry.
thank you. Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Zollner.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is 5A4, Town Line Road. I think I would, if it's appropriate, I'd like to lump these A and B both together. First one is Town Line Road, request approval of a motor fuel tax resolution and request approval of a matching tax resolution. And I would entertain a motion for that. Member Thompson? Second by Member Lane. Sounds like we got a double split. All right, well, maybe we'll have better luck. Jerry, go ahead.
Sure. So I do have a couple pictures of this as well. So this is a federal project that we're looking to do in 2022. And so we need to start the engineering on it way ahead of time. We have to do what they call a project development report to send into IDOT. And so this kind of gets that ball rolling and appropriates the money for that. On this particular project, you can kind of see this is looking actually towards Tazewell County and then our road. Back in 2009, we put a microservice on this road as a pavement preservation. And it's held up really well over the past 10, 12 years. And but it's just you kind of see the cracking that's going on there. It's just time for research needing to get resurfaced. This is one of the projects we received TARP funds on to use in 2022, and Luke, he did a real good job. Luke and Zach in our office did a good job we got TARP funds for 2 projects for next year. And so they did the applications for that work. And so it's just resurfacing for that. So the funding breaks down is $1.5 million in STR funds from the state through the federal program, and then $366,000 of TARP funds, and then the $350,000 will cover our matching portion of the project.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and vote. Julie?
Member Wojcinski.
Yes.
I think I heard her say yes. Member Thompson.
Yes.
Member Klein.
Yes.
Member Lehman.
Yes.
Member Webb.
Yes.
Member Friedrich.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you done?
Chairman Soldner.
Yes. All right, next item is 5A5. Again, these all deal with the jurisdictional transfer for the Division Street. Can administration direct me, would it be a problem to include all of those in one budget, in one motion?
Chairman, I would ask our parliamentarian, Ms. Vasquez, to comment on that. Samantha, would it be okay if Chairman Soldner combined 5A, 5 subparts A through D in one motion?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Thank you, ma'am.
My camera, but that's fine. Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you, Ms. Vasquez.
Does any member have a problem with that? Okay, I'm saving Julie from doing some voting for us, some roll calling. Okay, so it's 5A5, section 20-00053-01-FP, Division Street, Chenoa, jurisdictional transfer. And it's A is request approval of the jurisdictional transfer agreement. B is request approval of the jurisdictional transfer resolution. C is a jurisdictional transfer ordinance, information only. And D is request approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Chenoa. Someone want to make that motion? Member Klein, second member Lehman. All right. So Jerry, you can lead us on all those in, please.
Sure. So in 2020, we did a project in Chenoa it was a half-mile project from Bulls, which is around the school, up to Route 24. And then the full reconstruction. We redid the curb and gutter, sidewalks, and that. With that, before the project started, we approached the city about taking that section of the road over City of Chenoa, and they agreed after the project was done. And so then going north of 24, that needs to be resurfaced as well. And so I approached the city about that in that area, and we don't need to redo the sidewalks in this area, but as part of the incentive to for the city of Chenoa to take it over, we had offered $225,000 to help with their water main upgrades that they need to do in this section. And so, and just a little bit more background that I was wanting to show here is, so a couple of projects we have coming up here is this County Highway 8 that runs, it's 8 miles long from Lexington to County Highway 13. That's going to get upgraded here in 2021 as part of the wind farm. And so that's going to be a hot mix road when it's all said and done. And then also, so next year is the Meadows Road project, and that's going to be a full reconstruction that there was another project that we just received the TARP funds on. And so that project will be done. And so a lot of our resources are going to those two roads. And then County Highway 19, I've reached out to the road commissioners to do this road will get done next year as well as part of the wind farm work. I talked to both the road commissioners in Lexington and Chenoa about taking on jurisdiction of this road because around this area here, around this jog, we did the traffic count last week, and there was only like 55 cars that were in this area here. This road right here is 3000 North, which is a little bit busier road. But as you go south, there was like 200 cars here. And then going north, there was 300 cars. And so, so a lot of traffic's just not using that as far as the county, being a county highway and using that section of County Highway 19 going south, it isn't feasible and really for us to maintain anymore. So basically that's why I was approaching the city about taking all of County Highway 19 over. And so I have gone to a couple city council meetings with at Chenoa, and so they're going to consider that taking action on it at their next meeting. So there's a couple of items here. There's the jurisdictional transfer agreement. That's what IDOT signs off on because they're the ultimate authority on signing off these roads over to the city of Chenoa. And then there's a county board resolution that transfers the road out of the county highway system into the city of Chenoa. And then for information, I just threw in there the city of Chenoa's ordinance that kind of does the same thing as our resolution. And then there's the intergovernmental agreement in regards to the actual project itself.
All right. Anybody have any questions? I have one, I guess. I'm sorry, Member Lehman, go ahead.
So it said that this will be approved at an upcoming council meeting in Chenoa. What would happen if it didn't pass? What would be the course of action? Would a project like this continue on in a different way or a different vein?
So we would still move forward with the project. The city probably wouldn't be able to do any upgrades to their water main at this time unless they found the money from somewhere else. But we would still move forward with the resurfacing of the road.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I was going to ask, I understand the rationale to transfer these to a village or to a township that, hopefully when we're done with the transfer, then they maintain it, their responsibility to maintain it. So I don't see a downside for the county other than, is there any funding that we get per mile? Let's say, if we've got 350 miles in McLean County and we lose 5 miles, are we going to lose any revenue anywhere?
No, so that has to do with motor fuel tax, where the townships actually would gain a little bit of revenue because they're based on mileage. The counties are based on the amount of motor vehicle registrations in the county, and so that's how that percentage is broken out for our MFT funds. And then the municipalities, the city of Chenoa and town of Normal and city of Bloomington, and that are all based on population. So yeah, the city's not going to gain any additional revenue. The townships would on their end, taking a couple of miles here and there, and then the county wouldn't lose any revenue either.
Okay. All right, because again, I realize, we did that in down several years ago, Washington Street, and that's a pretty busy road. And I think we're well ahead of the game by the work that we did on that road and then turning it over to them. So I think it's a good thing for the county, as long as we're not losing revenue somewhere. Remember, Friedrich, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'll probably go against the board on this, but I sometimes have trouble with relinquishing our ownership on some of these roads. I think it looks good in the short term, but I'm not so sure some of these townships and or cities might have difficulty in maintaining the roads in the distant future, and that's where my concern is. Just like you said, Jim, we had an issue over here at Downs, and we did not turn that over to Downs. I think that's a good thing. I don't have a problem so much with the Shinoa thing. However, moving forward, is this going to be something that our department looks at each and every town and village, and we just give them the roads right away? So that's my concern. And now you know.
Jerry, you got a comment or?
Sure. So, I mean, it depends on the situation, and it depends, like, when we're doing this project through Carlock, that we didn't approach Carlock about taking that section of road over. It's just really too busy of a road for that, and I don't think, Carlock has the means to do that. So I think it's a case-by-case situation when we're, going through the towns and doing work. I think McLean County is kind of an anomaly as far as actually maintaining a lot of these roads to these small municipalities. A lot of other counties, they may plow the snow, but they don't have any maintenance jurisdiction at all going through the municipalities at that point. So, that's fine. I think it's just, like I said, a case-by-case basis. It just kind of made sense up in this area to do that in Shinoa. And it's just a lot of cost. We're just looking at, as far as the county is concerned, looking at additional costs on County Highway 19, in the future. And I realize that, a lot of that cost will be going on to the townships and the city, but we're also, putting a lot of money into the Meadows Road project. That's going to be an $8 million project once it's all said and done. And then the County Highway 8 Lexington East project this year is going to be about $2.4 million. And then we're looking at doing a safety project to realign a curve through there that may be another $500,000. So a lot of that money's going to this area, but just not, specifically to that County Highway 19.
All right. Any other questions? If not, I guess we're ready to vote. Julie?
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Yes.
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Soldner.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item is 5A6, request approval of a bridge resolution for the Baker Bridge on County Highway 21, Section 20-00041-06-BR. Would someone like to make that motion? Member Klein, second Member Thompson. All right, Jerry, you can lead us on this.
So this is a project where I brought the engineering agreement back in, I think, January, February. And this was to appropriate the money for the construction, just to, it's in the full reconstruction. I'm just going to take off the deck of the bridge and redo it. And it was kind of taking place of a project that we were supposed to do on County Highway 32 that we ran into some endangered species doing once they did some environmental clearances, they noticed that there was a endangered mussel out there. So then I thought, well, we could try to get this project completed. Unfortunately, I found out on Thursday or Friday that there's a potential another endangered species for this project, even though we're only replacing the deck. So we're going to have to work through that. So I'm not sure this project's going to get completed this year anyway, but we can still take the approval through to appropriate the money in case something does come to fruition on this.
All right. Any questions? Member Klein?
Hi, good morning, Mr. Stokes. So what is the endangered species and how long do you think that this process might last?
So it's an endangered mussel. is what.
Both cases, in both cases.
Yeah, I believe so. So we have to like send in what they call an environmental survey request to IDOT once the project started. And then they go out and do these screenings to say, okay, yeah, there's potential for these mussels or any other endangered species. So then they do more of a review and they actually go out there and they dig up in the water to see if they find anything. And then what they have to do is we have to do an incidental take authorization report. And so that has to be approved by the IDNR and IDOT both. And so, and it's quite a process to get that approval done. And then it's also got to be placed in a public paper, and I think it has to be done for like a couple months that this thing has to be advertised for. And so it's just a process that has to go through. We just, like I said, we ran into it on County Highway 32 here at the end of last year. And that's the first time we've ever we've had mussels before, but never had to go through this whole incidental take authorization through the IDNR.
All right, I suppose my question was mostly targeted at whether we should appropriate the money now or postpone until you have a more solid, because you said the last situation was such that that's not going to get completed in this year. So I didn't know, so the question is really about timing.
Sure, yeah, and that's the problem, because in both cases that we couldn't have the road closed during harvest, so we're kind of running out of that window basically to do that. So, if the money gets appropriated, and even there's still a chance we may not do the project, and we just would have to regroup for 2022.
So do you have the same issue if we just did a repair or an overlay or whatever with that deck as opposed to replacing it?
Well, it's kind of, we did look at, doing some repair work on it. The traffic on this road is probably close to 1,000 cars a day, and this bridge is actually narrow for a county structure. It's got a curve that kind of encroaches on the driving pavement. So I think right now it's at 28 feet, and we're looking to go out to 32 foot, and it'll be a self-cleaning deck. So I think the deck's really too far gone to be repaired. It just makes more sense to do a full replacement on the actual deck portion. What we're going to actually do is, the reason that the endangered species kind of kicked in is we're actually doing some scour mitigation in the stream, kind of right at the abutments of the bridge. There might be a place where we wouldn't have to do that work if we can get around it and come back and do that later once everything's approved, or do it with our own maintenance staff to where we can just do the work on our own. So that's one thing we could look at, but I don't know exactly the timing if that's going to work out either.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions? If not, we're ready to vote. Roll call vote, please.
Member Wachinski,
Yes.
Member Thompson,
Yes.
Member Klein,
Yes.
Member Lehman,
Yes.
Member Webb,
Abstain?
Member Friedrich,
Yes.
Chairman Solder.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, we're down to item B then, which is the items to be presented for information. And the first and only one that appears is the 2021 motor fuel tax summary, which is on the last page. And Jerry, you want to explain this to us?
Sure. So this is kind of a spreadsheet that we kind of keep track of the monthly motor fuel tax allotments. And so, so you kind of can see start down maybe down there at the bottom, you can see the monthly allotments kind of going back to 2002. And then in 2019 is when the transportation renewal portion of the MFT program kicked in. And so that I think started in September 2019. So that kind of shows the averages of for 2019 overall. And then 2020 was the first full year of the renewal, and so you can see our average is around 293,000. And part of that's probably COVID related as far as not being able to drive anywhere. But I also noticed even before COVID hit in 2020 that it seemed like our numbers were down. And the part of the motor fuel tax that comes to the counties and townships and such, it goes through the Department of Revenue. And they actually take administrative fees off of that. And, so the County Engineer Association is looking into this to see if they're taking additional fees off that should be coming across the board, and then taking some of the money away from the motor fuel tax allotments. Because you can see that our average allotment for the first 3 months of 2021 is 284,000, which is already about 10,000 below what we had in 2020. Now those monthly allotments fluctuate quite a bit throughout the year, and it depends on actually when they look at the wholesale of the gas, and then they tax that. And so it depends on what time of the month they do that, and that type of thing, and then just how many fees are coming out of that. So that's kind of where we're at. But just kind of wanted to give you guys a summary of what our allotments.
So we're budgeting 300,000, and we're just the last one you said for 2020. It looks like 293. So we're short of budget with our actual revenue.
Correct.
And again, it'd be nice to see if there was a number of gallons sold or whatever, or vehicle registrations, to see if, as you said, if it's just a less revenue as far as through those items, or if someone's taken more. And so that'll be interesting to find out.
Yeah, I imagine we'll probably work on that here the rest of the year, just kind of see where things fall at.
And a few years ago, the state passed a lockbox rule. Well, I assume this administration fee is not part, it's not part of that lockbox. In other words, they're allowed to do that.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember if you remember that the motor fuel tax presentation I gave a couple months back. I mean, that kind of showed the whole breakdown, that flow chart and all the fees and different programs that it goes to before the percentages get divided up between state and the locals.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions on any of that? Okay. Well, thank you, Jerry. Before I ask for other business or whatever, I had a couple questions, I guess a comment. So I read yesterday or the day before, we're going to get $7 million through a federal program. Is that the recovery or whatever they're calling that? Are you aware of that?
No, I think, are you referring to they did announce the TARP funds?
Yeah, $7 million to help manage truck traffic and economic growth.
Yeah, so that was $7 million for the whole state on that particular program. And so Clay County received, we're going to receive about 800,000 total out of that. 500,000 is going to the Meadows Road, and then 366,000 is going to the Town Line Road that we just approved. So yeah, so the whole program's around 7 million, 7.5 million, and then that's our portion. It's a grant that we submit applications for, and based on kind of truck traffic and truck routes and truck generators. Okay.
All right. And then I have a question. Actually, this is for administration, I guess. So this, at one time, the number was $33 million that McLean County is supposed to be getting in the future. And I believe it's through the Recovery Act. My question, and maybe you don't have enough information yet, I was kind of the impression there might be a few strings to that, as far as you need to spend it for COVID-related things and all that type of thing. Is there gonna be any opportunity for us to spend any of that in the highway department?
Chairman Soldner, we only have very preliminary information about those funds. What we have seen so far is, yes, there are parameters wherein one should focus. One of those, as I recall, has to do with, examining again, those staff that work in COVID-related occupations, and looking at the hours they work and perhaps, addressing those issues for certain departments. But long story short, we are working together to examine that and perhaps bring it at some point for discussion to any of the committees, the oversight committees where it's applicable. I'm also conversing with other county administrators to see what strategies they are going to use. But the money, as I understand, also has a pretty extensive amount of time to be spent, up to 3 years. And so it sounds like an incredible amount of money, and it is. We're very thankful that the Rescue Plan Act is going to provide us with some opportunities, but it is actually to be spent all the way through 2024. Assistant County Administrator Dreyer, I know, went to a webinar actually sponsored by our external auditor, Clifton Larson Allen, last week, and I haven't had a chance to regroup with staff to find out what extra information is to be gleaned from that. But we will definitely bring it to any applicable oversight committee when the time is right to really make we need to strategize on this, because we do want to follow all the parameters. We want to do what's best for McLean County. And so we'll bring that back.
Well, as chairman of the transportation committee, I'm gonna put our request in first. We want
You're the
most of
first.
it.
You're the first, so I'll remember the first come, first serve on that one. Thank you, sir.
Okay, does any other member have anything? Jerry, do you, or again, Camille, do you either have anything to add or any comments?
No, the only thing, if I may, Chairman, is I've been trying to let all the oversight committees know that thank you to Information Technologies for making it possible for public commenters to get a phone number to call into the GoToMeeting platform. It's another way to err on the side of caution with public health and safety precautions relative to the pandemic, and to provide people a chance to read their own public comment instead of sending it in to us. And so while we had no public comment in this particular meeting, there are chances this week for us to use it, and we've used it actually in the rules subcommittee, and successfully so. An individual or two was able to read their own comment. So thanks for that. It's just another way to prevent people who perhaps have yet to receive the vaccine or who are just yet not comfortable coming out in public to read their own comments. So we're doing that as long as we have virtual meetings. And so thanks to IT for that. That's all we have. Thank you.
All right, one last time, anybody have anything?
I do have one more thing. So we did start are starting a couple projects this week. The Colfax Weston Road project from 165 to County Highway 8. It's another project from Blooming Grove Wind Farm. So that actually started yesterday. And on Thursday, we're going to start on the Tackett Bridge, which is in Empire Township. And so that road will be closed probably for the next 3 months then.
Okay. All right, and unless we have anything else, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Take care.
Oh.